Hello, this is the Sunday, April 13th, Massachusetts Pirate Party News. We're only going to cover one story today, simply because, it's late, we're tired, and that's what happens. So, parents and all that. So, before Joe starts talking about the uh, story you see on the screen here, we just want to remind you that we have a couple of upcoming events. On the 13th of June, we're planning to be at the Boston Dyke March. On the 21st of June, we will be at the Boxborough Fifers Day, which we were at last year. And tentatively, the end of June, um, on probably based on our poll, June 29th will probably be our next conference. Likely that will be in Somerville. We're finalizing the location now, and hopefully we'll know in the next week and have that all set, tied in a bow, and ready for folks to come out. It'll probably be a venue that can only host about 20 people, but we will be doing online, and we've got some things together so we can record that as well. Um, so those are the things that we're doing. In a week from today, on the 20th, is our next scheduled, that's also Easter, is our next scheduled meeting at 8 p.m. We encourage all of our supporters to come out for that and join us in charting the future of the Pirate Party in Massachusetts. So, with all that administrivia stuff done, Joe, do you want to give us an update about Facebook?
So, yes, but before that, I just wanted to do that honorable mention. There was a story that Jamie was presenting, and I just want to throw out my thoughts and prayers to the immigrant who isn't actually an immigrant but still got deported anyways to El Salvador. Um, that poor, poor soul who hopefully they come back, um, because they shouldn't have been deported whatsoever. Um, but a greater story right now is unfolding as the platform that is the champion of free speech really actually isn't about presenting free speech. And this is somebody who testified a few days ago before Congress. Um, and Facebook tried to do everything it could to silence this person, um, and compelled him not to testify, put gag orders, did all these things, and did all these kind of dirty legal tricks to try and silence this person. It was Wynne Williamson, and this lady was reporting to Congress. Now, I'm just going to give you the 1,000-foot overview, but essentially, Chinese former expatriates from China who had come to the U.S., who became U.S. citizens, were telling their story on Facebook, and essentially their stories were getting squashed one after another. Um, and the gist of it has to do with, I believe the hope was for Meta to use their AI over in China to kind of let the cat out of the bag so that they could, in a roundabout way, really push their agenda of using AI over here freely as they saw fit. And part of that deal really has to do with trying to make China like Facebook, even though they're banned there. And so um, there's a lot of skullduggery going on. Now, this is a platform that I do encourage everyone to go and watch the almost 2-hour meeting that took place. It's very, very informative about one of the big meta companies or big tech giants and really what they're doing behind the scenes and how easy it is for them to reach in and just squash anybody's First Amendment rights. And do so, if they can be this brazen, about it, who knows how many people they've just completely and utterly suppressed. So it's one of those things that's kind of dystopian, and yet this is in fact happening right now. So um, just one of those stories that you got to really just listen to it um, to really understand some of the depth of it. Now, there's a lot of military analysts that are listening to this, a lot of national secrets that they could be sharing. We just don't know the full extent of the damage yet, but it's pretty horrifying that a company that's supposed to be so pro-America, so founded in America, could do something this corrupt. So we're going to be I think we're all going to be taking a good hard look at Facebook. Not that they haven't given some of our members issues in the past, um, but this is supposed to be a platform that I remember when they first rolled out, when they were first becoming big in my teenage years. So, watch them develop, watch them grow. And, you know, you know, too much absolute power corrupts absolutely. And so, one of those things that, again, I would want you to educate yourself on and really find out what's going on and make up your own mind about it. But the evidence is pretty damning. Your thoughts, Jamie?
Yeah, it's since Trump won the election, Zuckerberg has tried to position himself as someone who's a supporter of free speech, and they're not going to be. I believe he went on Joe Rogan and mentioned that he wasn't going to limit what people could say. And indeed, they changed some of their guidelines so you could basically, harass trans people or say immigrants deserved harsh measures. And I'm that's that what's really allowed is worse than harsh measures, what people could say. And so he's lauded himself as he's pro free speech and how Biden was stopping him from, being the stalwart supporter of free speech. And here he is silencing someone's free speech when they call him out on things that he and Facebook have done. So, the powerful are always going to use the tools they have to silence people. I mean, that's certainly one of the reasons why we need laws to make sure we need anti-slap laws, so that people can't go and, rich people can't go and silence people they don't like. Um, those are my thoughts. And also, all of the 300 plus people who have been sent to, man, in El Salvador in prison, all of them should come back. Not just the guy who's recently been in the news. At least 90% of the people there had no prior criminal, uh, conviction or charges or anything, but they should all come back because we shouldn't be sending people off to prison in another country. We did that in the global war on terror in the early 2000s, and it didn't go well for, well, anyone on the receiving end of that. And all the torture the CIA aided and abetted, whether done by us or done by uh, countries on our behalf. And if we're going to pay them $6 million, they'll, they shouldn't be treating people that way. And indeed, they should be back here in the United States. Ideally, not in custody at all, because, we're going to be having more and more people who need to come to the United States as our planet gets warmer. And we need to figure out how to integrate them in here, not throw them in jail, take them away from their family. You know, we're supposed to be the shining light on the hill, advocating for people's fundamental rights, but this administration doesn't want to do that. And indeed, Biden and Obama weren't keen on it either. That's all I'll say.
We could do better.
We can always do
So,
better. Pirates will do better.
yes. Well, thank you, Jamie, for that. And that again, we want to keep it short and sweet, so that way, you guys can get back to your life, and we can be a little bit more impactful. So thank you for your time. Definitely like, share, and subscribe, and help make us a thing. Those comments too, we do read those comments, so please share.